It's Wednesday, March 15th, and this is Geeknights. Tonight we talk about our favorite anime.
Let's do this.
Well, I spent yet another morning down in Manhattan, and it looks like I'm going to have a new job sometime in the next month or so.
A job that's better than the one you got?
Significantly better in terms of paying at least $10,000 more a year, and better benefits, and possibly regular travel to such places as Tokyo and London.
Well, regular travel, I think, what did you say, once a year?
Yeah, once or twice a year, maybe. We'll see.
That's not like zipping around the world awesomeness.
Hey, going to Japan once for free is enough for me.
Yeah, it's better than zero anywheres, of course.
Plus, honestly, if I go anywhere like that for business, I'll totally take the next week after my business is done as vacation days and stay there.
Yeah, it's a good move.
That's the plan. Then all I have to pay for is a hotel room.
Yep.
Maybe I'll sleep on the floor at Katsu's family's house or something.
Well, I finally got my the raise I was supposed to get like 2 a month and a half ago. But I think they messed up and gave me too much money. Hopefully they're not listening. But that's okay, as I got monies.
Yeah?
Yeah. Money.
So anyway, in the news, there's this dude, and for some reason this decided to make it to the level of news where it was on Slashdot and all over the place. But some guy was playing World of Warcraft, and he happened to be playing it on Linux in Wine. And he happened to be using a keyboard that allows you to make keyboard macros.
Man, if he can get that to work in Wine, all I want is Steam, damn it. Was he using the Sedega thing, or was he using real Wine?
You know, I don't know. I've never tried to make World of Warcraft run in Wine. I don't know how hard it is. Some things just work really easily in Wine.
I really just want Steam to work in Wine without paying for stupid
We're gonna get
Sedega.
this. Internet Explorer runs fine in Wine, but not Civilization 2. Oh, no.
Internet Explorer works better in Wine than in Windows.
Yeah, it really does.
Yep.
But anyway, this guy. Now, the fact that he was using Wine is not terribly relevant. All it did was expedite his banning from World of Warcraft. Basically, he programmed his keyboard to do repetitive tasks for him. So he hits, I don't know, B.
I think he had that fancy Logitech gaming keyboard with the LCD display.
Yep.
Where you can set up, it has like extra buttons on it. And you can program it to say, when I hit this button, do like A, then B, then FG, and then up.
Yeah, they're just macros. So he made macros that would kill mobs for him in the game. And he just kind of sit there tapping the button while he watched TV. Well, he was sitting there doing that, and apparently a GM noticed and private messaged him saying, hey, you a bot? And because he didn't notice the PM, they banned him from World of Warcraft for botting. And his argument in his defense is that he wasn't botting, he was using a macro keyboard, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I don't think there is anything wrong with that.
Well, here's the thing. The only reason I bring this up as news is because, one, this guy sounds like a total douche, the guy who's complaining. Because if you read his complaints, he basically says to the effect of, I blah 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 ISP, I'm important, blah 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 blah. And then he goes on and talks about his problem. Like, he makes a big deal about himself.
Well, see, I don't know why we keep having news about World of Warcraft, the thing we hate.
Because it's fodder for entertainment.
Yeah, it is.
Get an epic car,
The thing about this news that really bothers me is that this guy wrote somewhat intelligent emails compared to what most people write. And the company, didn't even... It's like companies don't communicate with people. It's
See,
like...
now I thought this at first.
I hate it when you send a letter to a company and they don't actually read it and send you a response.
Now, see, I anticipated you would say that because I agreed with you at first. Until I actually read, he kept replying, as far as I can tell, to the do not reply to this or you will get an automated response email address. Instead of talking to someone else. That's what I saw.
No, it's like they give you, if you read the first email, it says do not reply to this, but, directly, but they give you an address that you can email to. And then it looked like from then on he was talking to that email address that you're supposed to email.
I'm going based on the comments from Slashdot.
Who knows what you can say about that.
Yeah, but anyway, the point is here that more importantly, I don't care that the guy was banned. It's probably good for him. He'll probably get a life or something.
Oh, yeah, definitely great for him that he was banned. I don't know why he's so... I mean, you'd be upset because he spent all these hours to make some numbers go up, and now the numbers are deleted in the database. But good, now he's going to get a life.
But the thing
Hopefully
is...
he won't play another MMO.
Apparently, World of Warcraft can be played by a keyboard without a person there.
Oh, yeah, so can every MMO.
Now, some MMOs couldn't.
Few.
But anyway, the problem here to me is that if you're playing a game against a computer that could be played just as well, if not better, by a computer as opposed to by you, then why even play? All you're doing is spending time to make a number go up. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. If you're sitting there and there's a button, and if you push the button, a number goes up, and all you have to do is push that button a whole bunch of times, what are you doing sitting there pushing that button repeatedly? What the hell's the point?
If anything, I say you should be encouraged to write macros to get through that tedious crap. Because I'll admit, way back when I played The Realm, that old-ass MMO by Sierra, it's still around. The fans bought it. It's kind of scary that it's still up. But once I got past level 60 or 65, there was nothing else in the game to kill because the game wasn't done yet. And I wanted to be level 100, because I was a middle school, high school kid with infinite free time. Now, instead of killing, whatevers over and over again, thousands and thousands of times a day, hour after hour, to get the one experience point I'd get to try to get myself up to a higher level, I just wrote a little Windows macro that would attack any monster it saw. Well, it would basically stand on a screen and attack any monster that walked into the middle of the screen and kill it. Because I was so powerful, nothing could hurt me. And that way, I didn't have to waste my time, and I still got to level 100. I don't see why people have a problem with other people using bots to level in a game.
I don't even know.
Someone else, if you have fun gaining levels in the game and exploring all the new content, fine. If someone else doesn't enjoy that, I say that there should be no problem with them using a bot.
My question is, why are any people playing it at all? It just... Now,
I can see how the game would be fun. I wouldn't mind playing the game if, one, I didn't have to pay for it. And two, if I could just pick whatever level I wanted to be, play at that level. When I was done with that, pick a different level, play at that part of the game. And then when I've played all the parts of the game, just stop.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't... World of Warcraft is like a big world to explore. Zelda's kind of fun when you're walking around exploring. So maybe if the whole game was, I can go anywhere the hell I want and do anything I want and just see everything to see, then I might do that once. It would take me a few hours, and I'd walk around or ride around and see everything there was to see.
Honestly, the only thing that bothers me about MMOs, at least current MMOs at all, is just the fact that most of the game is just a grind to try to get to a higher level or get a higher whatever. And the only factor in determining how good you are compared to another character, the only factor at all is how much time you spent playing the game. There's no skill involved. And if you say there's skill involved, well, you're wrong, and I'll argue till the end of time.
Yeah, whoever spends the most time playing the game, that means they're the best, as opposed to whoever's the best is the best. What if, it's like saying if one guy sucks at sword fighting, but he practices for 100 years, and another guy happens to be a natural, amazing sword fighter, and he practices for 10 minutes, that the 10-minute guy should never win, regardless of his natural talent.
Now, some MMOs handle that. Look at Puzzle Pirates, all right? You've got puzzles that you do. And say sword fighting is a versus Tetris-y kind of puzzle. Now, if you play the game, for years and years and years, and you get really, really good at that, that's the equivalent of leveling. You've gotten good in the real world at doing that thing.
Well, there are sword fighting puzzles a bad example because there's actually swords that kind of change the pattern and make it difficult, but not so much.
All I was saying is that you can get better at it by practicing.
Yeah.
So you effectively level in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you just happen to be naturally good, or say you start a new character, now you're level 1 again or whatever, you're still just as good in the real world, so now your low-level new character is going to be awesome just because you're awesome.
Mm-hmm.
In World of Warcraft or anything, if you start a new level 1 character, your character sucks ass because there's really... The only thing involved are the stats, and the stats only get bigger by playing the game longer.
Yeah, well, there is one thing, is that if you've played the game and you know your way around it, it takes you less time to get the levels, because you know what you're doing. That's the only thing, is it's like, if you already know this arbitrary knowledge about this imaginary world, then it will take you less time to do these things, because you already know what you're doing, and the time it takes to figure it out is now already spent.
It's like when I beat Zelda 2 again. I knew where everything was. I just went and got it, and it saved me about 20 hours worth of gameplay.
It's like if you went to the store to buy a stick of gum, right? And it costs $5 for your first stick of gum, but then every other stick of gum ever cost only $1 because you already paid the $4 stick of gum entry fee of learning how to chew gum and buy it.
That was quite an example.
I just had to make something up that was crazy, because you got to be crazy to sit there and push a button over and over again to make a number go up.
Anyway, I guess the only thing I want to say about this is to all of our listeners out there, even though this is anime day, so I'm going to come off it in a minute, but it's my news, so you can all go to hell. For anyone who plays World of Warcraft, why on earth, I'd like you to give me in the forums any reason why people botting should be against the rules.
All right.
That's all I want. I submit that to you all as a challenge. And if someone gives me a good enough argument, I'll concede defeat and you'll win something.
If he says you're going to win something, that means you're not going to win the argument.
Well, I point out that no one won our previous mini contest.
No one seems to even try any of our thousands of contests for prizes.
Yeah, no one told me what the Duchy of Grand Fenwick was yet.
I guess that means that everyone either doesn't know our trivias and they can't stand up to our challenges because we're always right.
Or they don't realize that we actually do have a lot of money, and if someone actually came out with the awesome...
Yeah, hello, my company just paid me more money than they're supposed to. Hello, money. You can have it. It could be yours.
I don't think we're going to give them money. I think we'll give them swag.
Yeah. So today is Anime Manga Comics Day, and since we got all anime for the main part of our show, I gotta talk about some manga news and some comics news. Well, the manga is my thing of the day, so we'll stick the comics news here. You may or may not know, but I bet that you know because I don't know movies and shit that's going on in the world, and I know about this.
Now, you may not know the guy's name, but if we tell you the things he's done, you'll think, oh, that guy.
Yeah, so...
And if you don't, listen well.
So there's this movie coming out, V for Vendetta. And actually, I have cautious optimism, which is more than I've had for any movie since probably Lord of the Rings. And it's going to have the Agent Smith / Elrond is going to be V, and Natalie Portman is going to be the girl, Evie.
Now, it surprises me to this day, and it makes me feel old, how many people don't know who Natalie Portman is.
It took me forever to remember the damn name. All I could remember was Star Wars chick and the Professional chick.
Yeah, I remember from the Professional. But Slashdot, for any of you who are younger than us even, because this joke was old before we knew about Slashdot. Natalie Portman has been this long-standing inside joke on Slashdot. I don't even understand the inside joke. It was before my time. But apparently all the nerds knew who she was.
Yeah, she was in an awesome movie called The Professional, and then she was Princess Whatnot in Star Wars episode.
Princess Whatnot.
I don't know. What's her name?
All right, Gowrie.
Okay, so the guy who wrote V for Vendetta, his name is Alan Moore. He's this British comic writer, basically.
He's a scary-looking dude, but he's brilliant.
He looks like you read his stuff, and you think he's just some, awesome British genius guy who writes awesome stuff. But really,
he looks
Rasputin.
Like a
scary biker with a Rasputin beard.
He's Rasputin. He must have survived and lived to this day in order to make comics.
Yeah, you'll see a picture of him in the link. He's a scary, biker, awesome, crazy guy. Anyway, he wrote V for Vendetta. He also wrote Watchmen.
Watchmen I'm holding it in my hands right now. It is perhaps one of the greatest works of American comicdom ever.
Yep.
Well, Western comicdom.
Yeah.
Western.
But yeah, this guy's amazing at the writing. And he wrote League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, I think, and all kinds of crazy stuff. Now, he was kind of... The story is, I'm not going to go into all the details, mostly because I don't know all of them. But he had a contract with DC Comics. He ended up being unhappy with the contract, and he got out of it. But in the contract, he pretty much gave DC the rights to his stuff, and, he's like, oh, they tricked me out of it, but then another second he'll be like, yeah, I was stupid and I gave it to him, but now he doesn't want them to have it, basically. He wants them to, stop printing his books, even though they keep sending him a check.
Huh.
Yeah, he's a little bit nutty in this department. I don't know what he's thinking, but, he's kind of mad that they're making these shitty movies out of his stuff, and he doesn't want them to be able to make the movies. But if they're going to make the movies, he wants them to take his name off of it. He thinks they're using his name to, promote. He commented on how they printed new copies of V for Vendetta that say, now a motion picture, on the top. And he's real unhappy about that, especially since his name is in big letters on it. And how people are using his name, in association with the movie. When he's trying to say, I think the quote was, I've read the screenplay, it's rubbish. Yeah. So this guy's real sort of angry at what people are doing with the things that he's written. And, the feeling I get is that he's just being cranky after he signed a contract and then later realized what he had done. And too late, you signed a contract. Tough shit. That's my feeling, just based on interviews with him and such.
Yeah, I don't actually know much about him. I just know about his works.
Yeah, his works are excellent. I suggest you indulge in all of them.
Yeah, if you wondered why I was silent while Scott was on his monologue, because I was holding Watch in my hand, I started flipping through it, and then I started reading it, and then I forgot that I was on the air.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's one hell of a comic.
Yeah. And so is V for Vendetta, which you should read.
Yes, especially in light of the current socio-political situation out there.
Yeah, see, from what I can tell is, number one, I watched the second trailer for the movie, and it's a trailer anyone can watch. I don't think it's one of those spoiler trailers. But there's at least one scene in this trailer that I know for sure does not happen in the comic anywhere. So either that's just a trailer scene, or the movie is actually going to change what happened in a big way. And I've also heard, like, whisperings around the net that, like, okay, V for Vendetta, if you don't know, is about, literally, anarchy versus fascism in a direct conflict. That's what it's about.
To put it very, very bluntly.
Yeah, that's without telling you any details of characters or plot or anything. But that's the general theme of it. Anarchy versus fascism. Extremes in conflict. From what I've heard, the movie is like liberal versus fascism. Like, it's not the same thing. That's the whisperings I've heard, and I'm not sure. And I'll probably go see the movie just to be able to talk about it or see if my cautious optimism pays off. Yeah, whoever's making this movie, you're pretty much either going to, like, lose me on movies forever or maybe, like, light a tiny little fire.
Yeah, the stakes are high. Maybe Scott will go to movies again.
Maybe, who knows? It doesn't take much for me to go to movies. You just have to make a movie that doesn't suck.
Honestly, most of the movies we've gone to lately were anime movies.
Yeah, I can't... Since Lord of the Rings, when have I been to a non-sucky movie that wasn't anime? That wasn't in an art theater either, like a Hollywood movie.
You know what? Snakes on a plane.
Snakes on a motherfucking plane.
And there's not a goddamn thing you can do about it. So, it being Anime Day, now, earlier today, I was poking around looking for videos of old cosplays for various reasons. And there are basically a lot of laws and problems with putting the cosplay videos from cons online.
Yeah, like you're not allowed to portray copyrighted characters and all this stuff, and it's all legal gray areas and blah.
Now, Otakon has had a very strict, long-standing policy on this, and they've gone after people who have put up the cosplay videos in the past. Well, I discovered, looking through Google Video, that all of those cosplays are in fact available online.
Awesome.
Not only those, but cosplays from many other conventions. I linked to it in my post, but it's basically cosplaymemories.com. And they're basically flaunting all the warnings and cease and desists and whatever they've gotten, and they just host a pile of cosplay videos.
Oh, look, there's a big picture. OhioCon 2003. Download the video.
Now, if you watch no other cosplay video in your life ever, I want you to go to Otakon 2004 and watch. There are 2 skits, and it lists, because it breaks everyone up into 4 parts, and it lists what sketches are in each part. Watch the one that involves Muppets and Utena.
I think it's called, like, something.
If you search for the word Muppet, you'll find it on the page.
Yeah.
And 2, Shadow with an Axe.
Shadow with an Axe is the man.
He is quite literally Shadow with an axe.
This guy's freaking awesome. I remember I saw him because I've got this new, starting in 2004, we started this thing where we would go to the overflow room for the cosplay.
Yeah, because it's quite, you don't have to worry about coming and going. There's no line. You can yell and scream and make fun of people and no one cares.
Yep. I think, and also in 2004, you can see Mike Pfeffer, our friend, doing his Jewish...
You mean Jewish Wolfwood?
Yeah, doing his comedy routine, which isn't so bad. That was actually quite a good year for cosplay. The most recent one, only like 1 or 2 of them were entertaining. The rest of them were kind of bleh.
Yeah, I missed it this year. Or last year. I forget what I was doing.
I don't know. We only saw part of it. It was kind of... Yeah. All right, so I was going to talk about this manga thing for my thing of the day.
This is kind of weird, and I just want to preface Scott's thing by saying if any of you know what the deal is with this, let us know.
Yeah, go to our forums at frontrowcrew.com/forum, whatever, and tell us.
Well, actually, the forums have been pretty rocking this week.
Yeah.
Like, more so than usual.
It seems like it gets real quiet, but if I bother to start a thread, it will explode, which means there's a lot of people just sitting there checking for new stuff, but not putting new stuff. So, people, if you put new stuff in the forum, other people will start talking to you. They're there, you know? So
no, I have noticed, like, now some people are starting to post the thread for the day's episode on their own, which is good because we didn't really want to have to do that forever.
Yeah, the only reason I did that was, like, sort of like as
a seed.
Yeah, what's the word for the chemicals that make reactions go
faster? A catalyst.
That's it. I was trying to catalyze the conversations going on in there. I didn't want it to become a thing.
Yeah,
know?
But our eventual goal was that you guys would all talk amongst yourselves and just have fun without us always having to be there in the way.
Yeah, but for now on, my policy is going to be if the forums are quiet for like more than, I don't know, like 12 hours, I'll start something.
You know what? Let's just start horrible arguments.
All right, cool.
All right.
That'd be awesome. To start giant flame war forum.
Haha.
All right, so anyway, when Osamu Tezuka first started drawing manga, like Astro Boy and whatnot, or Tetsuan Atom, or whatever you want to call him, everyone knows that he got a lot of inspiration from Mickey Mouse. And Mickey Mouse has four fingers. So, he drew Astro Boy with 4 fingers, just like Mickey Mouse. And he stuck with that. Until one day, he went and talked to some people at Disney, and he said, "Hey, Disney people, why do you draw Mickey Mouse with only 4 fingers?"
Well, why did they draw him with only 4 fingers?
Well, apparently, if you try to animate Mickey Mouse, like an animation of him, as opposed to a comic on paper, and you draw him with 4 fingers, well, if you draw him with 4 fingers, it looks fine. If you draw Mickey Mouse with 5 fingers and animate him with old-school animation technology, it looks like he has 6 fingers when he's moving.
Now, I've seen, because I know The Simpsons did that for the same reason.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they even made jokes about it one day. They talked about, like, the 5th magic finger on someone.
Mm-hmm. So, I don't know what that's caused by, but I assume it's true. But what happened was, after they told that to Mr. Tezuka, he stopped drawing Astro Boy with only 4 fingers and started drawing him with 5, because he probably thought that was stupid.
Uh-huh.
And it's probably just their shitty animation techniques, which, whatever.
I have no idea, but I
have
do
no
know
idea.
that
I have no idea either, but
I know that other animators have had the same problem.
I do have no idea, but I also know that I've seen Astro Boy with 4 and 5 fingers in different situations.
All right, so anyway,
there's a new problem, quote unquote problem in manga. Someone or a few people are drawing people with 6 fingers. Now, there are a few examples on this page here.
The one from Death Note is kind of scary looking.
Yeah, the one from Death Note's kind of freaky. But the most of them involve someone pointing. So what it looks like, see, it doesn't look too freaky when someone's pointing. So I can understand what it's about is, 4 fingers clenched with a thumb clenched looks like a fist. It looks perfectly normal. And if you add an index finger pointing, but you still have the 4 clenched fingers, it doesn't look kind of scary. Yeah, it doesn't look out of the ordinary. You won't catch it because 4 fingers clenched in a fist makes sense. It looks right. And 1 pointing finger and a bunch of clenched fingers looks right. So, even though there's 6 fingers there, it doesn't get all weird on you. So maybe the artist messed up, or maybe they did it on purpose because they thought it looked better. Because in some ways, drawing only 3 fingers clenched can look kind of silly, with 1 sticking out. So I can see that. But the one picture that's the scariest is the one from Prince of Tennis. This guy's throwing a ball in the air, and his hand looks kind of like a squid because he's got, like, the 4 fingers. It's a freaky... That one freaks me out. I don't know what they did there. That's the one that messes me up. So,
well, I know in photography, there was a long time ago, at the end of high school, I was at a photo shoot. 'Cause how most people get their high school, like, photo, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
High school pictures.
We had his photo studio we all went to.
Yeah, so I went to the studio, and one picture they wanted me to be, like, standing there with my sport jacket off, but holding it, like, up over my shoulder, in my finger with my fist. Mm-hmm. You've seen this pose in, magazines, whatever. And I held it the way I always do. 2 fingers in the coat to hold it up, and then my other 2 fingers just in my fist.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way most people hold a coat, just because it's easy. 1 finger's not enough. And the photographer said, nope. You gotta only have 1 finger in there. Otherwise, it looks weird when I take the picture, even though it looks okay in the real world. And that stuck with me to this day.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Like, he even showed me, because he took 2 pictures. Yeah, sure enough, my fist just looked kind of off when both fingers were hidden.
Yeah, I gotta admit, the 4-fingered with the one single finger pointing looks okay.
You know, now I gotta look at Phoenix Wright and make sure he only has 5 fingers.
Oh my god. Oh my god, if Phoenix Wright has 6 fingers, I'm surprised. Hold on, I gotta go to the website.
Well, the pause there was while we looked it up, and sure enough, Phoenix Wright has 5 fingers.
Hooray, Phoenix Wright is not a freak.
So, it being Favorites Week, and it being Wednesday, we're gonna talk about our favorite anime.
And I guess we'll save favorite manga and comics for some other day.
Yeah, since we realized that talking about comics, any one of these categories would take an entire show at least.
So we'll probably have Favorites Week number 2 sometime in the future.
Basically, whenever we run out of better ideas for themes.
Yeah, so I think I've said this at the beginning of every episode this week, and I'm going to continue to because we have separate feeds, and some people might be only listening to this episode this week.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine why.
Yeah, I don't know why either, but the Favorites Week is not the same thing as Best Week. You see, when something is your favorite, that means you like it more than anything else. When something is the best, that means you consider it to be superior in quality, even though you might completely hate it.
Now,
it's not the same thing.
So for some people, it is the same thing, but I found that most people, there's actually a very clear distinction if you actually think about it. Now, yeah. I'll clear the air right away. My favorite anime are Irresponsible Captain Tyler and Shoujo Kakume Utena. But the best anime, in my opinion, are Cowboy Bebop, Evangelion, Escaflowne.
Yep. I mean, if you think about movies, the best movie is Citizen Kane. But I really couldn't watch it too many times without going, But it's the best movie. But my favorite movie would either be like the original Star Wars trilogy or the first Matrix movie or something like that.
Yeah, maybe Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. But anyway.
All right, so anime. Now, we've both been watching anime for a long time.
Let's see.
When I was
if you count Thundercats and such.
Oh, if you count that stuff, my whole life.
But if you only count real anime, I think we both go back to the Sci-Fi Channel in the early high school days.
Yeah, high school. I'm talking 4th grade.
No, I don't think it was on Sci-Fi Channel. Maybe
it was.
I don't even know.
The first time I'm aware of the Sci-Fi Channel showing anime, I was in 4th grade, and they showed Vampire Hunter D, Kashan Robot Hunter, Robot Carnival, oh god, what else? Project A-ko, Odin, which I'd forgotten about until those Anime World Order guys talked about it. It's the worst show ever.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think they actually said it was the worst show ever.
I mean, I used to say Grey Digital Target was the worst show ever, but
I think it is.
I'd forgotten about Odin.
Oh, well, maybe we'll have to reconsider by watching them both. No, worst week is going to be a different week, so...
Yeah. Now, when I first saw anime, like when I first realized that, wait a minute, these are cartoons, but they're good, and they're not just for kids, oh my god, I freaked out, and I loved any anime I could see. I watched anything. I rented every single tape they had at Blockbuster.
I remember, I wasn't, super into anime. I had seen it, and I knew what it was, and I kind of wanted to see more, but I wasn't, woo, crazy. And then there was, an anime week on the Sci-Fi Channel at some point, where, every night they showed some anime. And, what was the first day was, Fatal Fury. It was, King of Fighters or something like that. You know, the Neo Geo fighting game. And I was even watching that and, all excited about it. But, yeah.
I mean,
it didn't take much to make me go, woo!
Yeah, I mean, any anime in the world, I loved it. And it really, honestly, for all the years I watched anime, it wasn't until I got to college that I saw what I would consider good anime.
Yeah, towards the end of high school, I actually wanted to watch a lot of anime, and then when I saw there was a little anime club, I was like, oh yeah, this is where I'm going to get it, because right now I can't really get it so much.
Now, I remember very clearly that the first anime club meeting of the RIT Anime Club, now all of us, the whole front row crew, was there, but none of us knew each other yet.
We weren't even sitting. I was sitting with some weird stranger people that I talked to.
Yeah, I was sitting with a friend of mine from high school.
Mm-hmm.
And all I know is that they showed Cowboy Bebop episode 5.
They showed that?
Yeah.
They showed Gunsmith Cats.
Gunsmith Cats, which is awesome.
They showed music videos, which I'd never seen before.
Yeah, anime music videos. I had found one once when I was in high school.
I didn't even know what the hell. When they said they were showing music videos, I was like, what the hell? I don't know.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I found an AMV, and I didn't know what it was. But I still have it to this day. It's just a crappy little AVI to Sailor Moon and Phil Collins song, some Phil Collins song. And I remember thinking it was this unique, awesome thing, and the person who did it must have been so cool. And then I saw AMVs, and there's a million of them, and
It's real hard to be cool now on the internet where everything is mixed with everything.
But Cowboy Bebop. And to this day, I still really haven't found a show that, as a whole, in my opinion, is better than Cowboy Bebop.
I mean, I gotta agree. The best anime is Cowboy Bebop. But
I mean, there are shows that are real close. Evangelion, I think, is a masterpiece.
Nah, I think Evangelion, it's great, but it's not the best because it just, it's not accessible.
Yeah, well, it's
to
not
be
only
the best, you need to have everything.
I guess I can agree with you on that.
You can't lack in any area. If you're min-maxing, you can't possibly be the best.
All right, then, how about Escaflowne, which I think is very much up there, even slightly higher than Eva.
Nah, not really. It doesn't really, because it's just a really, really good, fantasy anime. It doesn't have any amazingness that would make it, the best.
Yeah, see, part of it might be that I saw Escaflowne a long time ago, but I've seen it again recently, and I still love it. But Cowboy Bebop is looking for another watching sometime soon.
Yeah, you can watch it like it. It happens to be the best, but you can also watch it 1,000 times.
I remember one time our friend Pete was over. I think it was Pete. Maybe, I forget who it was. And we were going to watch like the first 5 episodes of Cowboy Bebop because he'd never seen it. And we ended up watching the whole show.
I think that was Alex.
Might have been Alex. I don't remember. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, we ended up just watching the whole... We couldn't stop.
Yeah, we just watched the whole show over the course of a weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a show you really... Once you see one episode, if you have the rest of them there, it's just a dangerous weapon.
Well, I guess one test that seems to really show in terms of Cowboy Bebop is that I gave Cowboy Bebop to my dad, and he loved it. And I've lent it to people who hate anime, never heard of anime, don't care about it, whatever. And without exception, they've all loved it.
Yeah.
They've all wanted to see more.
That's what's so terrific about it. All right, anyway, my favorite anime, not the best anime, actually, I'm not even going to argue that they're the best anime, are probably the original Macross, and maybe, I don't want to say Initial D, but I think I might.
See, to me, Initial D, at least the first season and the movie, because the rest of the show, I'm really losing interest real fast.
Mm-hmm.
But I love it, but I list it as one of those shows that I know it's dumb, but I love it anyway.
Yeah, Initial D, I'm not going to say it's good. I mean, if you were going to argue about the best anime, it wouldn't even get onto anyone's list ever.
It's definitely on the B list.
Yeah, maybe even the C list. But I just can't watch it without feeling really, really good.
I think that's a side effect of, one, the Eurobeat music, which we had never experienced before until we saw this show.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I've watched all of Initial D maybe 5 times, at least the first season, at least 5 times.
He's not exaggerating.
And it was
not
good
at all.
every time. And it's even if I watch an episode I've seen before, it's still exciting. I still getting the manga, and it's still exciting.
You should see how many inside jokes we have that are based solely on Initial D.
It's just so much fun.
I mean, here's an example. There's a scene later on in the show where Takumi, the main character, is racing some guy, right? Which, yeah, you never expect that in Initial D, a show about racing.
Yeah.
And suddenly, Takumi passes this guy, and the guy turns and sees Takumi there, and he has this look on his face. And now we make the look to each other whenever we see someone failing, or whenever we're about to fail at something.
Yep, it's like, oh, you make the face.
I guess part of the reason we really like it is that Initial D, when we first saw it, we thought it was the stupidest thing ever.
Oh my god, I went to a club, we watched 4 episodes of it, the first 4, and at the 4th episode is a cliffhanger because you don't know who's going to win the race.
And I remember we all walked out like that was the dumbest thing ever.
I walked out and I actually thought that was really dumb, and I also thought, I wonder who wins, but at the same, because I haven't seen any Initial D, I don't know that the same guy wins every time.
And we kept kind of talking about it, like, yeah, that show sucked.
But I didn't, I definitely had a bad opinion of it after watching 4 episodes. It's like I must have not heard the Eurobeat music or something. I don't know.
Yeah, so then we...
But then we went and it was a marathon of the whole first season.
And we went because we figured we'll go and we'll leave after we found out if he wins, just because we wanted closure. We ended up staying to the end.
Yep, I mean, when I went in for that marathon of the whole first season, it's like there was a lot quieter in the room so I can concentrate, and I could really absorb all the stuff that was going on. You had to get into it. If you just kind of casually watch Initial D, you'll think it's this boring, what the hell's going on stupidity.
Or if you expect any sort of deep meaning from this show, you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah, you're going to be real disappointed. But if you sit there and watch Initial D, and you get into it, and you feel the energy, It's so much fun. Oh my god.
Yeah, the best way to watch
I could do it like 1,000 times.
I guess my advice is never watch Initial D alone. The
Yeah.
more people you have in the room, the better. Even people that hate the show, because everyone will be yelling by the end of an episode.
Mm-hmm. That's what it's about.
Now, for me, like I already said, Irresponsible Captain Tyler, which is one of the first anime I watched all the way through. And for reasons I really can't really describe, I just love that show. It's funny, it's cute. The end made me cry a little bit. The movie made me cry even more.
Yeah, you don't cry at the end of Initial D. And,
I guess part of the reason I really like Tyler is that, for anyone who knows me, if a person like Tyler existed, they would be my role model, hero, and god.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, I don't really plan at all into the future. I'm generally very happy-go-lucky. I tend to just leave everything to chance. And Tyler is, I guess, the epitome of that. Plus, in the show, this is kind of an aside, he ends up with this alien princess girl, who, ironically enough, I guess not ironically, just coincidentally, I dated in college a girl who looked almost exactly like her.
You dated an alien princess?
Well, I'll note that the alien princess actually just looked like a normal redheaded girl.
Mm-hmm. So Rim has a personal connection with the show and thus making it his favorite. I have no personal connection at all with Initial D.
Other than the fact that you tend to drive fast and or recklessly at times.
No, not really. But they don't really drive recklessly in Initial D. There's many wrecks.
Yeah.
They're not less wrecks.
Now, of course, I could also give an equally important nod to Shoujo Kakume Utena.
Yeah.
Which a bunch of us watched together for a while.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Utena is a good show, but it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, well,
it's got some aspects of it I like a whole lot, and other aspects are just kind of like, I'd rather have just that part of the show.
Watching Utena is like reading Hawthorne. Every single sentence is just a metaphor, 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 to the point that you're barely aware of the fact that there's a show happening around it.
Yeah, I think that part of the problem with Utena is that a lot of the times, imagine if someone's blatantly doing things that are supposed to be symbolic, like they're just throwing symbols at you, but a lot of them just represent nothing, or they're just symbols for the sake of making symbols.
See, very few of them actually mean nothing in the show.
Yeah, I think, because no matter what symbol, if I made a show that was just a bunch of symbols, someone out there could come up with a meaning for every single one of them, no matter what the plot was.
I think most of this part that you're referring to is from there's a part in the Black Rose saga, which is in the middle of the show, where the show seems to make fun of itself, and they start throwing like absolutely ridiculous metaphors all over the place.
Well, that's one particular
to the point
episode.
that there's even at one point there's like it shows something, and then there's a hand that appears on the screen pointing at it to draw your attention to it, to remind you that it's symbolic of something, which was just silly.
Yeah, that's one part in like one episode, but in general, the show does all kinds of stuff. You know, whether some of it means something, some of it doesn't. Some of it you can make mean something, like Nikki and the stopwatch thing, and
oh no, that's specifically not supposed to mean anything.
Yeah, you see what I'm talking about?
Mickey's just an anal kind of little person.
Yeah, and like people always when they're meeting in places, and they'll have.
Well, the show's over dramatic. All right. Here's how I like it on a very prurient level.
Most of the symbols are just weird accessories in scenes that they draw attention to frequently.
See, I think that there's a lot more. I think that there was a lot of thought put into what was shown where and when.
Oh, yeah,
show.
There might have been thought to it. It was crazy thought. But it was, it doesn't matter whether the thought was there or not. The point is
on
that
a very basic
of
level, I like the show because it's got the tall, thin, pretty, angular people and rose petals flying everywhere. Everything's overdramatic and crazy. Everyone is just really, really anime, I guess is a one way to put it.
Yeah. Rim likes
and
that,
honestly,
actually.
What I really like about the show is just that once you see the end and you figure out what's going on, because the show is kind of weird.
You can watch the show all over again. It's totally different.
Yeah, watching the show the second time through, this is one of those shows where once you realize what's going on, every single thing in the show is different now, because you watch it again and you realize, wait a minute, but in the very first episode, that happens because of this. Oh, shit, I get it. Oh, man, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's like when I didn't figure it out until like 2 minutes before the end.
Yeah.
And I didn't I had it in my brain and I should have said something because then people would have been like, oh, Scott got it. But no, I didn't say anything.
Yeah, because none of us were really sure.
I'm just a shit talker. I could be lying, but I'm not.
Yeah, I figure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the few shows where we were all watching it together, and there's a point in the show at the end where quite literally we all screamed. It takes a lot to make me scream during a show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've cried. I'll admit that I cry like a girl at a lot of anime.
I used to cry at a lot of stuff, but not anymore, really.
I cry like a little girl. I just start bawling. Sometimes I try to hold it in. It just doesn't work. I cry. But I don't scream. And Utena made me scream.
Yep.
Well, we can list all the shows we've cried at the end of.
Nah, because I can't really remember.
Trigun.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, you cried. We all cried.
More in like 23 than 26.
Yeah, 26. See, Trigun I think is a really good show. I definitely wouldn't call it the best or my favorite, but it's very high on my list.
If Trigun had continued more in the vein of the first few episodes, instead of it kind of changed a little towards the end, it would have been a much better, more favorite show.
See, I don't know, because the first few episodes were just silly, and then later it had, plot, meaning, character development.
Yeah, you should read the manga.
The manga makes no sense. The manga is just crazy batshit. I can't follow the manga. If I had not already seen the show, the manga would be entirely indecipherable to me.
Yeah, the manga does a really great... The guy draws really action scenes well. He's like a hammer trying to whack all the nails and also the screws and the bolts and the nuts.
I just can't follow it. I'd like to, because I want to know more about these characters in this world. But
I kind of know, but maybe I'll explain it someday.
I just can't read that manga. And this is coming from a guy who's read Sailor Moon.
Yeah. So anyway, my other favorite anime I said already was the original Macross. Now, I saw Robotech not when it was shown in the 70s, but when it was shown on Cartoon Network.
Yep, I watched much of it then, and I didn't know much of what was going on.
Yeah, see, this is the thing, is that was the first show where I was watching Toonami, like, religiously when Moltar was the guy.
Moltar, I miss him.
Yeah, when they would show Space Ghost and Thundercats. That's why I started watching, because they had Space Ghost and Thundercats. One day they showed the show Robotech, and I was like, all right, I'll watch the first episode of this show. And it was all right. And the next day there was another episode, and it continued from episode 1. So I promised myself I wasn't going to miss any episodes. And I managed to make it well into the second story of Robotech, which was actually, I think it's Southern Cross is the name of the real because Robotech, if you don't know, is like 3 or 4 animes combined. They basically put these animes end to end. So the first anime is Macross, Southern Cross, and Genesis Rider Mospita, and they put these shows end to end, right, as if they were one big show. But really, it's 3 animes stuck together and redubbed, and they said that they made up
proto-culture.
Yeah, they took proto-culture and they pretended that certain characters were related to other characters to make them stick together. And basically, if you just watch these 3 anime separately on their own, they're all much better than Robotech.
Yes.
But when I watched Robotech for the first time, I realized that the show had changed, and I learned that they were actually separate shows. And the first show was Macross, and this was so long ago I was still crying at the end of anime. But I didn't really cry, but it was just like at the end I was like,
Yeah. Macross is a good show.
Because I watched the whole thing through.
Well, he bought that crazy box set that came out way back in the day.
Yeah. So then I started watching the second show, and I watched the second show through to the end, but it didn't really quite give the because I think it was destroyed too much by its Robotechification. So Southern Cross, I'm sorry, you're not so good. I never actually saw the third one because Cartoon Network didn't air it, and I don't know where to find it. I'm sure I could get it on DVD now, but whatever. But then when I got the box set, which is I think sophomore year college.
Yeah, we were living in the apartment at that time.
Took all of the original Macross, the original unrobotechified version. They upped the graphics so they were visible, and they added subtitles instead of dubbing. And you watch that, and it's like, and then I could really see what the hell was going on. And it's hella good. It's let's see, what's so great about it? Number one, it's got awesome robots, but it's robots that make sense. It's not like crazy Gundams with super attacks or anything. It's like, imagine if we had military technology, 100 years from now with
It's definitely Gasaraki robots as opposed to Big O robots.
Yeah, imagine if we had some alien technology that we learned stuff from, and we advanced far into the future from now. It's like fighter jets. Well, our fighter jets would transform into robots. It makes sense. And the fighter jets in the show, the story is that one of the guys working on the show actually said, what if we had a plane that turned into a robot? That would be awesome. And everyone was like, what? You're crazy. So then he made the toy first, and the toy is so high quality. So then they just made the show look exactly like the toy, and it makes perfect sense.
Didn't the toy come first in Big O as well?
I don't know.
You remember we watched that documentary bit at the end of Big O 2, where they talked about that?
It might have. I really don't know.
Yeah, I remember reading something like the guy made the toy to try to pimp his show idea, the Big O robot. And all I remember, the very funny part, was that the people he showed the toy to asked him, why the hell does he have interchangeable fists?
Ah. Yeah, that's a good one. No, but then Macross also has the great music. Even the dubbed Robotech has awesome music. And the thing about it, it's not like... The music isn't like music in other shows. It's classy, sort of show tune, pop tune type of things that Min-Mei sings. And they're all really, like, no matter what set decade you're in, no matter what the music style of the times is, if you watch this show, the songs kind of grow. Like, they play the same, you'll hear her sing the same song in, like, every single episode. And she has about maybe 10 songs at most, probably less than that. But they all grow on you, and you recognize them, and it's like, and you begin to associate them in your mind with different things going on. It's just really good. And the space battles don't have too much stock footage.
No. Mm-hmm. Now, another show that's near and dear to me, though people often make fun of me, and I have good reasons for this show being as good to me as it is, or as I'm going to claim it is, Sailor Moon.
Sailor Moon sucks.
I've seen all 200 episodes and all the movies.
It's not something to be proud of.
Well, the thing is, way back, there wasn't so much anime I could get my hands on. And I found this fan subber, and I ended up, this is back before there were digisubs. Like, you couldn't get fan subs. So I got all these VHS fan subs of Sailor Moon. It was like the first non-American released anime I'd ever seen. So, being the anime fan that I was, I sat down and watched it all. And I gotta say, of all the magical girl shows out there, I think Sailor Moon is still probably the definitive one. And if you cut out about 175 of those episodes, I really think there's a good plot there.
Yeah, if you cut out 175 episodes, maybe. I mean, if you want to just compare based on quality and enjoyment, I don't think you can really say that Sailor Moon's better than Fancy Lala.
I don't know.
Fancy Lala has a dinosaur plot. What does Sailor Moon have?
Sailor Moon has Haruka and Michiru, who I think are awesome.
I don't know what the hell that is.
Actually, it has the Sailor Moon S, because it's broken up into different story arcs.
We know.
Yeah. And Sailor Moon S, if any of you have never seen any of Sailor Moon, and you want to see kind of, not really the origin, but like the defining magical girl show, watch Sailor Moon S from start to finish. That is, in my eyes, what a magical girl show should be.
Is that the one they kept out of America?
Yeah, that was right at the point, because they were showing Sailor Moon in America to little kids, and they were dubbing it and changing it. And then they got to Sailor Moon S, and that's when they realized that this show probably isn't for American kids, because lesbians, death, oh my god, plot.
So the lesbian porn part is what you think a magical girl show should be.
See, there's actually
When's
no
the last time you
porn.
watched this?
Actually, the last time I watched it was when I was a senior in high school.
So are you sure your memory isn't slightly blurred based on your senior in high school wanting to look at lesbians?
Oh, no, I'm not saying the show is great. I'm just saying that in terms of shows that have affected me or shows that I like, there's a place in my heart for Sailor Moon.
All right. Because I think the show is favorites, which means it has to be the top of the list. Because if we're just going to go based on shows that I like and shows that affected me, well, let's see. Let's get a little pad and paper out here.
Well, see, if we're talking about favorites, I mean, even if I list every show I've liked, that's less than maybe 5% of all the anime out there.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if you're going to talk about just liked at all, we got like Gundam Seed.
No, I liked Sailor Moon a lot. I mean, granted, a lot of that is clouded by the fact that I saw it a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm trying to, but since it's favorites, I'm trying to stick with stuff that's like, all right,
yeah,
I can't really say I
Seed,
like that more than I like that.
Well, like you mentioned Gundam Seed, I wouldn't even bring it up because I liked it, but I didn't like it that much.
Yeah. I don't know, I can't really think of stuff that I liked as much as Initial D and Macross. I can think of stuff that is as good as, and stuff that I liked a lot, but not as much.
I remember in high school, I really liked Tenchi Muyo, and to this day, I still love it, though I hate every spin-off and every TV series after the original. Well, we've been talking mostly about series for a lot of reasons, because we tried to think of anime movies that really affected us or we really loved or our favorite movies, and it's a lot harder to pick a favorite movie, I think, than a favorite show.
I think it's just there's not a lot of quantity of anime movies, and a lot of them are like summary movies and recap movies, so you really can't grab
Or movies
onto
that
them.
are just long episodes, like the Cowboy Bebop movie or all the Sailor Moon movies.
Yeah. Well, I think Ghibli is like, overall is the anime movie king.
Yeah, I don't think we even need to... Well, we'll consider non-Ghibli movies, because honestly, Ghibli movies are just amazing.
Yeah, but if I had to pick one Ghibli movie, I would just pick Spirited Away over all the rest, I think. For me.
See, I don't know. I actually really, really liked Howl's Moving Castle.
Yeah, I liked it a lot too, but I think Spirited Away had a few things on it. Like let's see, Howl's Moving Castle had the fire. That's really like a huge trump card right there. But Spirited Away had little soot balls, and I think the story made a little bit more sense. Stuff like that.
Now, honestly, if I had to pick my favorite anime movie ever, I'll have to list two, because one of them is fairly recent, so I want to give a nod to the old movie that I like as well, because the old movie was kind of knocked out of the first place position recently. My favorite anime movie prior to the second one is Lupin III, Castle of Cagliostro.
Oh, Lupin. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I love every Lupin movie.
Oh,
the crappiest crap Lupin movie, Babylon Gold, is on my list of good anime. And it's really close between the Fuma Conspiracy and Cagliostro. Those are both, like, the prime of Lupin. But I think Cagliostro edges us out just a little bit just because of the scene at the end. Not going to spoil anything, but the last scene in that movie just brings a little man tear to your eye.
Yeah, Cagliostro's real good, and I really like Lupin, but I think Fuma Conspiracy I like more because Cagliostro is like just missing some of those like Lupin elements that all the other Lupin movies have.
Well, Cagliostro was a little more serious.
Yeah, it was more serious, and while more serious, I think makes it a better movie. It doesn't make it a more favorite movie of mine,
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, and I got to admit, this isn't a spoiler because it happens immediately. Fuma Conspiracy, the main thing going on in that movie is that Goemon gets married. Mm-hmm. If you don't know who Goemon is, that doesn't mean anything to you, but if you do...
If you don't know who Goemon is, why haven't you seen any Lupin?
Yeah, talk to us. We'll give you some movies. I mean, damn.
Yeah, you need to see every Lupin movie and probably the TV show as much as you can. And
at least the movies. I think the movies are better than the TV show.
Yeah, the movies are where it's at.
And even if you hate Lupin, Castle Cagliostro is an amazing movie.
Oh yeah, even if you don't like Lupin, Cagliostro, like I said, doesn't have all the Lupin things in it. It's more serious and whatever. So
plus, it has one of the best lines in any show ever. With your sword and my anti-tank rifle.
Yep. ... Yep.
But I got to say, both movies were edged out recently by The Place Promised in our early days.
I don't know. I don't like Place Promised that much. I mean,
it
was good.
I don't know why the show affected me so much, this movie, but I just loved it. It was just... This movie has the saddest happy moment I've ever seen. Imagine a scene where nothing bad happens. In fact, only good things happen, but it's still sad.
Yeah, it did have that.
And I just think it was generally a very good, atmospheric, well-drawn, well-done movie.
Yep, it was all those things. I won't deny.
All right,
I don't know, I just didn't... I actually liked the other work by the same guy. What was it?
Oh, Hoshino Koi?
Yeah, I liked that a lot more, and it wasn't even a whole movie.
See, I liked that one, but I liked it a lot less than this one.
No, I liked Hoshino Koi the most. This one, because I'd seen Hoshino Koi, a lot of this was Hoshino Koi-ish. It just seemed a little more... slower and dragged out. And
see, where you say slower and dragged out, I say atmospheric and immersive.
It's all point of view type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, we have different tastes. Scott likes the giant robots a lot more than me, and I like the shoujo crap, as he would call it, a lot more.
I don't like
the
giant robots because there are giant robots there. Shows that have giant robots happen to be the type of show
you don't
that I
like Giant Robo, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, I don't like it.
It's awesome.
No, it's like Giant Robo's a lot more like Astro Boy than it is like than Macross or anything.
All right.
It just happens to have giant robots.
All right, so I've listed Place Promised. What's your favorite non-Lupin animated movie?
Non-Lupin anime movie? Oh, it's real hard. The Pat Labor movies are really, really good.
Yeah, I don't like them that much, but they're good. I'll admit they're good.
I think the second one is the best one. And I mean, Akira is really good, but once you've read the manga, it doesn't feel so good anymore. It's like, when I saw Akira before, and I'd only seen a few other anime movies, it was kind of like, whoa, my God. But then once you read the manga, it's like, that movie's not so much.
Yep. Now,
It's like
Ghost
the
in the
beginning
Shell.
of the movie. The first half of Akira is the best anime movie ever. The second half of the
Tetsuo.
Yeah, the second half of the Akira movie is not the best anime movie ever.
I got to give a big nod to the Ghost in the Shell movies.
Yeah.
Because Ghost in the Shell,
I like the
movie,
first one a lot more than the second one.
Yeah, I like the second one a lot for a lot of reasons. I mean, it was really pretty. It got me. For any of you who've seen it, that scene where you thought the movie was broken, that got me.
Yeah.
And I liked seeing a lot, like, just kind of a look into Bato's life.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, Bato, it's like the Major is just totally... If you want to know about her, you can read the manga, so the fact that they focus on the other characters in the TV show and the movies is awesome.
Yeah, because you see Bato, and he's got his dog, and he's got his life, and it's just... I really like that movie. And I guess the two of the Ghost in the Shell movies together would be very, very high on my list as an entity.
That's got to be high on anyone's list. The Galaxy Express, like I would have said that was the best, but then rewatching it, I mean, it's still really good, but it's not the same as it was before.
Yeah, though we're watching a lot of that stuff now.
Yeah, it's like my memory of watching the Ghost in the Galaxy Express movie the first time would be like the best, but after I'd actually seen it again.
Yeah, that completely jarred, because I said Place Promised and the Lupin movies, but there's one other anime movie that, like, it's tied with all of them to me. It's Urusei Yatsura 2, Beautiful Dreamer.
Oh, you like that a lot.
I like Urusei Yatsura. I just think it's cute and funny. But the thing is, for anyone who doesn't know the story, and I'll be real brief, the second movie, there are 5 or 6 movies, and the second movie was done by different people. In fact, it got licensed by a different company. So you can buy a box set that has 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you can buy 2 by itself, and there's a hole to stick it in the other box.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it is just a very good screen representation of how dreams work. That may sound weird, but it's a good movie, like a really good movie. And I saw it on the Sci-Fi Channel way, way back, and to this day, I still consider it one of my favorite movies ever, animated or otherwise.
Yeah. Well, you also like that whatever Tenchi movie it was.
I like the first Tenchi movie, Tenchi Muyo in Love, because it's just cute, funny, happy, whatever, early
The one that you tried
show.
to make me watch, and I watched it, and it was lame.
No, that was the second one I had you watch, because it's only an hour long.
Oh, okay.
The second one is kind of eh. The third one is just a freaking doujinshi, as far as I'm concerned. It's just terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't really know anything or care.
Yeah, for any of you who like all those, like, modern harem shows, like, I don't know, Love Hina, Tenchi Muyo is the original.
Yeah, the creator of the harem show. Thank you very much. Thanks for bringing these terrible types of shows into the world.
Hey, it's okay to have one of any kind of show. The problem is when people keep trying to make that show over and over again.
No, the problem is when that type of show is a nasty harem show.
I thought it was funny and generally heartwarming.
I thought it was a harem.
You haven't really seen much of it.
I saw enough.
No, you didn't.
I've seen enough. I'm not about to go seek out any more, that's for sure. Oh. I just remembered an anime movie I like a whole lot.
Oh?
Like just as much as the Pat Lavore movies and Spirited Away.
All right.
Tokyo Godfathers.
I forgot about that movie.
I like it a lot. A whole lot. Like, I could watch that thing 100 times. Oh my God.
I like it a lot. It's not in my top 10 list. Like, I list every movie I mentioned so far above that one, but yeah, Tokyo Godfathers is really awesome.
Yeah, like I knew about it, and then I watched it, and it's like, but then it was like, and then with the thing at the end,
at the end when you just kind of like it's a movie you got to just roll with.
Yeah, man, that's a terrific movie.
It's another good movie to watch with a group of people. It's the kind of movie that'll get people yelling and screaming.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we could probably talk a lot longer about this, but we'll save it for another day. Someday in the future, we'll do favorite manga, favorite comic.
Yeah, I don't think Rim will have too many favorite comics that are non-manga.
Nah, probably not. Though, of course, I've read enough Rakuto to know that it's awesome.
Yeah, well, we're going to get the trade paperback soon. Now I'm starting to buy comics monthly now. That way, the way it works, where I get them from, it's $75. If I buy $75 worth, I don't have to pay shipping. So if I wait a whole month and then buy it, maybe I get free shipping and, I'll read them all and then I'll have time to read other stuff too.
Yep. And the favorite manga one will be real easy because I own almost every manga I like.
Yeah. Plus any manga that might be your favorite you either haven't read or you can't get.
Yeah.
And we don't know about even.
Yeah, how long did it take us to get Sanctuary and Eagle?
God, how long did it take me just to get freaking Akira back in the day? Holy crap.
And that was Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for our opening theme.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com. If you like our podcasts, you'll love our forums. Make sure you visit them. You can send your email feedback to geeknights@gmail.com. And if you want, you can leave us a voicemail at 206-333-1537.
Geeknights airs every weeknight, Monday through Thursday.
Geeknights is recorded with absolutely no studio and no audience. But unlike those other talk shows, it's actually recorded at night.